Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to Miss T.L.L. English First Additional Language Lessons here on YouTube. I hope the lessons are impactful and fruitful as you maneuver around the English First Additional Language as a subject, and I hope also you are developing those necessary skills to tackle examination question papers, but most importantly your language competency is being developed through the videos. That is the main goal. Today we are going to delve into the world of writing, and I'm going to take you through the steps of process writing steps. And I know that with my experience that most learners, actually, this is one process they perceive it to be very daunting, time consuming and so forth. People just want to write the final draft and submit without taking into cognizance the steps that are required for you to perfect that piece of writing, or piece of a transactional piece that you are writing. Now, the reason why am I taking you through the process writing steps? Even a book, a novel that you are reading at your school, short stories that you are reading at your school, they went through the process of being qualified to say, now this book is ready for publication. It can be published. It can be read by people. Before it can be read by people, it went through all the steps of proofreading. Every book has got what you call an editor. Every article in a magazine or newspaper has got, even in a blog, has an editor. So the editing process is quite important. So I felt the need to take learners through the steps of process writing, and also highlighting the importance of process writing, bearing in mind that writing is a critical component towards the learning process, or within the learning process itself, given that even in wherever you go, you can't say you are not going to write. You are going to write essays, you are going to write research projects in the future. So this is going to be your foundation that will help you to perfect your writing skills. Now, the process writing simply entails, I know when you check different resources, they have different methods and different ways of unpacking process writing, but I'll try to simplify it the best way that I know how to. And then I'm going to use an example using writing of an essay. However, I'm also trying to incorporate other examples from various writing text, if not writing pieces, from other transactional pieces. Now, process writing, the first thing that you need to know about process writing, these are the steps, in essence, if I were to just simplify the concept, these are the steps that you need to follow prior writing and perfecting your final piece. Be it you are writing a letter, you are writing an article, a book review, you are writing an essay, right? The first thing that you need to start with is planning. You have chosen a topic, right, for your letter. Is it a business letter or a friendly letter? Doesn't matter. You have chosen a topic for your essay. Then you need to start with planning. That's where now you're going to brainstorm ideas. You come up with ideas, right? You are not writing full concept here. You are just brainstorming ideas to know what is that you are going to write about, and the supporting ideas that you are going to use in your writing piece. And then what is important before you can even write those ideas and supporting ideas is to understand the structure and the format. For an example, let us take the different types of letters, right? If you are writing for a friend, you would know the structure. If you are writing a business letter, you would know the structure and format. Why am I taking you through the structure and format? Remember, structure and format again. This is going to inform the tone that you are going to use. And then this is also going to inform the register. When you speak about the register, it means the kind of language that is applicable for that writing piece. If you are writing a friendly letter, you can say, "Hi, how's it?" It's that's a jargon or slang that is acceptable for a friendly letter because you are writing for somebody who knows you. But now the tone will be a bit serious if you are writing a business letter. We'll say, "Good day, sir or madam, I hereby write this letter to apply for a particular post. Then you state the post. So the tone there, it's a bit serious because it suits what? It suits the structure and format. You must also understand the purpose of why you're writing the piece that you are writing. You must understand the purpose. Are you writing to communicate a serious message? Are you writing to communicate just something that is maybe a friendly message? Are you writing to make people aware? Are you writing to argue if it's an essay? Are you writing because you want to narrate if it's an essay? Are you writing because you are responding to something? You are writing a book review. So the purpose of the piece that you are writing is also important. If not, if you don't want to say purpose, you can say the main objective. Why am I writing this piece that I'm writing? Why am I writing this essay? I want to narrate a story, or I want to argue against this topic, or I want to argue for this topic, or I want to discuss this topic weighing both the negative and the positive. So these are the concepts that should be in mind prior planning. And then once you understand the structure and the format, the register, meaning that the choice of words and the tone that is needed for that particular piece that you are writing, the purpose, why are you writing, then you can start with your brainstorming. And the brainstorming doesn't really have a format. A mind map doesn't have a format. You can write it in any fashion, in any format that you would like. For example, here you can have a big circle. Here you write your topic. After writing your topic, you include the facts or the points that you are going to include in your introduction. Let us make an example with a topic. Right, let us let us make the concepts practical, to say ICT is essential in education. So remember, I've said that you start with the structure and format. You are writing an essay. You should be knowing the structure and format of an essay. That is, an essay is a series of paragraphs that ultimately consists of of an introduction, body, and conclusion. Ultimately, that is the structure and format. And then tone and register, purpose. Now, if it's a topic like this, you will know your strong points. You can have what you call a mixed essay, where you argue and still discuss at the same time. But let us say, for example purposes, you are arguing. So I would know the purpose of an essay that I'm going to write is an argumentative essay. I'm going to say ICT is essential in education. So I'm going to argue for, to say yes, indeed it is important, it's a need, it's essential in education. So I would say yes. So the purpose, I would know that I'm going to argue, however, agree. So it means I have to state all the positive impacts, and coupled with reasons as to why I believe that ICT is a need, if not an essential, for education. So when you now translate everything into your mind map, you have your topic here, and then in your introduction, remember, an introduction must be very catchy, it must be thought-provoking, it must be intriguing. I can start maybe by giving a background of ICT coupled with a definition plus factual information about ICT to make my essay thought-provoking and my introduction to be how enticing. For an example, I can open with a fact to say it is reported that 80% of the best performing schools use ICT. It's an opening fact that I'm going to use in my introduction. And then now in my second paragraph, which is going to be my idea, I will say reasons why reasons. One, I can say it assists with teaching and learning. Then when I now translate this into my essay, I will know that this fact I will need just to expand it now into a paragraph. How does it assist teaching and learning? By providing examples. For example, the use of PowerPoint in a classroom, the use of online teaching in a classroom, and so forth. So can you see what I have done here? I just have like a glimpse of an idea, knowing that the very same idea, when I now translate it into an essay, I'm going to now expatiate it in a paragraph format. So in essence, when you plan, it means that you start first by knowing the structure and format of the piece that you are going to write, understanding the tone and register, the choice of words, and also here I nearly forgot, you must also know the audience. Who are you addressing? Because tone and register go along with what the audience. Who are you addressing? If you are writing a friendly letter, you are addressing a friend. If you are writing a formal letter or a letter to a press, you are addressing an editor, right? So it is important. If you are writing a diary entry, you are addressing yourself because you are expressing your emotions. So it's important to also know the audience, because the audience ultimately will determine the appropriate tone that you need to use and the appropriate word choice that you also need to use. Now let us further unpack the steps of process writing. Now you have your mind map, you have stated your facts, you understand your purpose, you understand your audience, you understand the format and the structure of the piece that you are writing. Now that's where now you are going to start writing what? Your first draft. This will be your second point. Your second step. The first one, you started with your planning mind map. Now this is going to be step number 2, where now you write your draft. Write a draft of your essay using the ideas from your plan. So it means that when I look into your mind map and your draft, there must be correlation between the two. It means, like I've already shown you, you take the very same ideas that you have stated. Now you expatiate them into a series of paragraphs now to state your facts, right? Remember, you can also do this. You should do this not only with essays, but you can do this even with writing an obituary. You will know that what is that you want to include in your first paragraph. Maybe it's biographical information, followed by school history when you write your obituary, followed by your work history, marital status of the deceased, and so forth. Now you take them like that into chronological order from your plan, and then from your plan you just look into your plan. Oh, what is that I wanted to include in the first paragraph? You translate that now into a paragraph by expanding that into ideas and sentences. Now also in your draft, remember, the reason you are calling this a draft is not yet a final product. It means that you are still going to work on it, right? So after drafting, taking the facts, if not the points that you have stated in your mind map, now you have your draft. Read through each sentence carefully to proofread it. Now this is where I would say a planning is important, and then you will see with how you perfect your writing as and when time goes by, that you will become your own chief editor of your own work, because simply you don't just write for the sake of writing. You'll always write and do what? Proofread. When you proofread, now that's where now you check and look for spelling errors, you look for punctuation, other language mistakes like concord, subject verb agreement. You look into also the use of capital letters, especially when you write proper nouns. You find that some proper nouns are in the middle of the sentence, but you make the mistake of writing them in small letters. Starting sentences with conjunctions, of which we know conjunctions are actually used to join words, if not phrases, and sentences, not ideally to start the sentence with. So after writing, edit your draft by correcting these mistakes and making any other changes you think are needed. This will improve your language and writing style in your final essay. So you start step 1, you plan by brainstorming. Step 2, you write now your draft by using the ideas that you take from your plan, which we normally call it again a mind map. And remember, mind map, you can do it in any fashion. You can have a circle like this, you have your topic, and then you state ideas to say this will be something, facts that I'm going to include in my introduction, facts that I'm going to include in my body, facts that I'm going to include in my second paragraph, and this is how I'm going to conclude my writing. You write your conclusion. So once you are done with all of that, you plan, and now you start with the actual writing. So once you are done with the actual writing, the third step in the process writing is what you call proofreading. When you proofread, it means that you simply sit down to read what is that you have written, and then once you do that, this is where now critical language come into play. Critical language awareness, because now you become your own chief editor, where you check spelling, you check concord, you check word choice, you even check format and structure. Did I use the or follow the correct format? Did I use or follow the correct structure? And then again, as in when you edit, let us check what is that you need to look into. Think about the audience. Think about your audience to help you choose the right register. I've already spoke about this in your essay. Not only in essays, remember I said this translates to all the transactional pieces. Register can be formal, for example, if audience is a teacher, or informal, for example, if you're writing for a friend. This is what you spoke about earlier. The way you write your essay creates a style of writing. The words you choose and the length of the sentences are two examples of how writing style can be created. So you'll realize that once you practice and expose yourself to more into the writing process, you develop your own unique writing skill. And then also the tone. Remember at the beginning of the lesson, this is what I emphasize: tone register. That the tone and register simply refers to the word choice. The word choice, right? For example, if you are writing a letter whereby you are responding to someone who's very ill, or the choice of words will be very much, the tone will be very much sympathetic, comforting, simply because how will I know that the tone is sympathetic and comforting? I'm going to check the choice of words that you have used. Sometimes we even call it a diction. Diction is determined by the choice of words, right? The essay is the feeling the writer gives the writing. So you must incorporate your emotive language. So by assessing the word choice, what is that, or how do you convey your message to the audience, then I'm able to pick up the feeling of that or the emotion of that particular writing piece that you are writing. For example, the tone could be playful or serious. I mean, if you're just writing a letter to tell a friend about an awkward day that you experienced at school, where you fell during the assembly, that can be a very humorous, right, piece of letter, because we are simply going to detail how you were embarrassed because you fell at the assembly. But if you're writing because you're applying at a higher institution, your tone can be actually very serious, because now that is a business letter. So once you are done with proofreading, now before you can even write a final draft, you are now going to go through the editing process. Correct. And then once you have now written your draft, you make yourself like a checklist before you can qualify the draft into now being the final stage of the process writing steps that which will be the final draft. You check your topic, you check did I really understand the topic, and then planning. I can show evidence of essay planning. And then what is important also is to go through the structure when you edit, to say I have not repeated sentences in my paragraphs where you have stated one fact over and over and over again. I have used full sentences, paragraphs. My ideas link and are well organized in paragraphs. That's why we talk about coherence. It means that your essay or whatever your letter flows we don't have now ideas jumping from one another to the other, lacking what you call coherence. There must be a flow. Think of your writing piece as a river that must flow. So you check such. You check if there are no discrepancies, you don't contradict yourself, you don't repeat yourself, because you can't be saying one thing over and over again, right? The ideas in the paragraphs linked to the essay topic. Are you addressing the topic? Are you addressing the key concepts of the topic? And then essay structure. The first paragraph of my essay introduces the topic. The body of my essay, remember, these are just checklists, and now as in when you do that, it means that the very same draft that you have written, you are now correcting it, because you can't just use the checklist without correcting the draft. You need to go back to the draft to correct it again, where you will correct even spelling mistakes. You will even correct the word choice, verb tenses. Is there a logic in what you have written in as far as language is concerned and grammar is concerned? I've used the correct tense, for an example, whether is it past tense, is your sentence sensible in English, where you don't have what you call concord errors, which are subject-verb agreement. Concord, my nouns and verbs are in agreement, and then you check spelling, and then you also check punctuation. Punctuation is very, very important when writing. In actual fact, I need to do a video where I only speak about punctuation, because I know that most learners tend to neglect the importance of punctuation, like your full stops, your commas, and so forth play a significant role when writing, because it means that now it determines the flow of your writing. So it means, in essence, what you have learned is that it's important to plan. Planning is important. You can't dodge the process of planning. And then in most cases, you would judge a writing piece when you read the final draft to say, this was a thought through a structure, or this was a well put together a transactional writing, simply because it was thoroughly planned. So please make sure that in whatever piece that you are going to write, planning plays a significant role. All the steps of process writing are important. Don't jump any step. Start with your mind map, and then state the facts that you are going to use. Understand the format and structure. Understand the purpose. Understand the language that you are going to use, the choice, the diction of words that you are going to use, and the tone and register. Then now write the first draft, and then to qualify the first draft, you must have something of this nature, like a checklist where you check yourself. You'll realize that with writing, you will improve and progress with time the more you expose yourself into this into these outlined process steps of process writing, because writing needs practice. So for you to win in English, you must practice more often. Take a previous question paper, write an obituary, edit it, follow all the steps like I have done, and then check. And then once you do that, you'll also realize that ultimately you are developing a skill for critical language awareness, as well as the use and the command of the language. Thank you so much. In the next segment, you are going to now look into the use of logical connectors when writing.